Tonight's stories aren't just scary, they feel real. These hunting experiences come from moments where something went terribly wrong in the wild. Strange sounds, unseen footsteps, and one final recording. Watch till the end because each story gets darker, and the last one might stay with you. If you enjoy real, chilling horror stories that feel too real to ignore, make sure to subscribe to the channel and don't miss what's coming next. One story. We thought it was a deer, but we were wrong. I still remember that night clearly, and honestly, I wish I didn't. We had been planning that hunting trip for weeks. It was supposed to be simple, just me and my cousin Bilal heading deep into a forest area a few hours away from the city. The place was known for deer, especially during that time of year. People said it was quiet, almost untouched. We reached there just before sunset. The forest felt normal at first. Birds, wind, dry leaves under our boots, nothing unusual. But the deeper we went, the quieter it got. Not peaceful quiet, just empty. Bilal even joked about it, saying, "Feels like everything just left this place." I laughed it off, but something about that silence stayed in my head. We set up a small camp and decided to go for a short hunt before it got too dark. The light was fading fast, turning everything into shadows. That's when we heard it, a soft movement in the bushes ahead. Bilal froze and whispered, "Deer." I nodded. It sounded right. Light steps, slow movement, exactly what we came for. We crouched down and slowly moved closer. I could feel my heartbeat getting louder with every step. The sound came again, this time slightly to the right. But something felt off. It wasn't the sound itself. It was the pattern. It didn't move like an animal. It would stop for too long, then suddenly shift position, almost like it was watching us instead of running away. I whispered, "You sure that's a deer?" Bilal didn't answer immediately. He just kept staring into the darkness. Then we saw it. Two faint reflections between the trees. Eyes. At first, it looked normal, but then I realized how high they were. Too high for a deer. I felt my stomach drop. Bilal slowly raised his flashlight and pointed it toward the direction. The beam cut through the darkness for a second, and whatever was there moved instantly. Not ran, moved. Fast, sideways, like it knew exactly how to stay out of the light. We both stepped back without saying anything. The air suddenly felt heavier, like we weren't alone anymore. Then came the sound again, but this time it wasn't from in front of us. It was behind. Dry leaves crunching, slow, deliberate steps. I turned around quickly, shining my light, but there was nothing there. Just trees, shadows, silence. My hands were shaking at this point. Bilal whispered, "Let's go back." No argument. We both started walking fast toward the camp. Neither of us wanted to run, but our pace kept increasing without us realizing. And then it happened. Something let out a sound behind us. Not an animal sound. It was wrong.
Low, stretched, almost like a broken human voice trying to copy something. I felt my chest tighten. I didn't even look back this time. We just ran. Branches hitting our faces, feet slipping on leaves. We didn't care. We just needed to get out of there. When we finally reached the camp, we didn't stop. We grabbed our stuff and headed straight for the car. The whole time, it felt like something was following us. Not close enough to see, but close enough to hear. Every few seconds, that same slow crunch of leaves, keeping distance, watching. We got into the car and locked the doors immediately. I remember sitting there, breathing heavily, trying to process what just happened. Bilal didn't say a word. As I started the engine, I looked toward the tree line one last time, and I swear I saw something standing there, tall, still, just outside the reach of the headlights, watching us leave. We never went back to that place again. And to this day, I don't know what we saw that night, but I know one thing for sure. It wasn't a deer. Chapter 2. The Hunter Who Heard Footsteps, but no one was there. I didn't plan to hunt that day alone, but sometimes plans just fall apart. My friend Armin canceled at the last minute. He said something about not feeling right, like he had a bad feeling about the trip. I laughed it off at the time. I had already driven hours to get there, deep into a forest area that wasn't even marked properly on most maps. Turning back didn't make sense. So I went in alone. The weather was cold but clear, late evening, perfect time to spot movement. I carried my rifle, a small flashlight, and a radio that barely worked in that area. I wasn't worried though. I had done this before. At least, that's what I kept telling myself. The forest felt normal for the first hour. I walked slowly, listening, stopping every few minutes. Standard hunting routine. Occasionally, I'd hear leaves shifting or branches cracking somewhere far off, but nothing unusual. Then, at some point, everything just stopped. No wind, no insects, no distant sounds. Just silence. I remember thinking how strange it was, but I kept moving anyway. That's when I heard it for the first time. Footsteps. Behind me. Soft, slow, matching my pace. I stopped instantly. The sound stopped too. I turned around and pointed my flashlight into the trees. Nothing. Just darkness and long shadows stretching between trunks.
I stood there for a good minute, listening. My heart was beating faster now, but I tried to stay calm. I told myself it was probably an animal that froze when I stopped, so I started walking again. And a few seconds later, the footsteps came back. Same rhythm. Step, step, pause. Exactly behind me. This time I didn't stop right away. I kept walking, trying to confirm it. And the more I walked, the clearer it became. Something was following me. Not randomly moving, following. I turned around again, faster this time, shining my light wide across the area. Still nothing. No movement, no eyes reflecting back, just empty forest. I felt that tight feeling in my chest, the kind you get when your body knows something is wrong before your mind accepts it. I grabbed my radio and tried to check for signal, just out of habit. All I got was static. Then, right as I lowered it, I heard a step much closer than before. Not behind me this time, to my left. Close, too close. I swung the flashlight instantly, almost dropping it in the process. The beam hit a tree, then the ground, then nothing. But I knew I heard it. There was no way that sound came from far away. I started backing up slowly, trying to keep my light moving across every direction. My breathing was getting heavier now. I wasn't thinking about hunting anymore. I just wanted to get back. Then the footsteps started again. But now, they weren't trying to hide. They were louder, clearer, walking through dry leaves like someone didn't care if they were heard. Step, 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 circling me. I turned in place, trying to keep up with the sound, but it kept shifting. 1 second behind me, the next to my right, then somewhere ahead. It didn't make sense.
No animal moves like that. I remember saying out loud, "Who's there?" My voice sounded weak, even to me. No answer. Just another step. And then something happened that I still can't explain. I heard my own voice. Behind me. Same tone, same words. "Who's there?" My whole body went cold. I didn't turn around immediately. I couldn't. It felt like if I did, I'd see something I wouldn't be able to forget. But the footsteps stopped. Complete silence again. I forced myself to turn, flashlight shaking in my hand. Nothing there. Just trees. Just darkness. But I knew what I heard.
At that point, I didn't care about anything else. I turned and started walking fast toward the direction I came from. Then, walking turned into almost running. The forest felt different now. Every shadow looked wrong. Every tree felt closer than before. And even though I couldn't hear the footsteps anymore, I felt it. That feeling of being watched, like something was right behind me, just out of sight. When I finally reached my truck, I didn't waste a second. I got in, locked the doors, and just sat there trying to breathe. For a moment, I thought it was over. But then, I heard one last sound. A single step, right outside the driver's door. I slowly turned my head toward the window, and for a split second, I thought I saw a shape standing there, not moving, just watching me. I started the engine immediately and drove off without looking back. I don't go hunting alone anymore, and whatever was following me that night, I don't think it was ever an animal. 3 story. He went hunting alone. This was his final recording. Supposed to go alone that day. We had planned the trip together for almost 2 weeks. Me, Farhan, and one more friend. But at the last moment, things changed. I got stuck with family work, and the third guy backed out. Farhan didn't want to cancel. He said it would just be a short hunting trip, in and out before midnight. That was the last normal conversation I had with him. Around 7 p.m., he sent me a voice message saying he had reached the forest area. His tone was normal, even a little excited. You could hear gravel under his boots and wind in the background. He joked about how quiet the place was and said it felt perfect for hunting. I replied, telling him to be careful and not go too deep alone. He didn't respond after that for almost an hour. At 8:12 p.m., I got another voice note. This one felt different. His voice was lower, not as confident. He said he had been walking for a while, but hadn't seen anything. No animals, no birds, nothing. He even mentioned how strange it was that the forest felt empty. I remember listening to that line twice. Empty. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then more messages came. Short ones, rushed. At 8:26 p.m., he sent another voice note. This time, he was whispering. He said he thought he heard something behind him, footsteps. But every time he stopped, the sound stopped too. My stomach dropped a little when I heard that. I immediately called him, but the call didn't go through. No signal. A few minutes later, another voice message came. This one, I still have saved. You could hear his breathing clearly now, fast, uneven. He said he was sure something was following him, not an animal. He kept repeating that. Animals don't walk like this. In the background, there was a faint crunching sound. Leaves, slow steps, not running, walking, keeping distance. I tried calling again, nothing. I even texted him to get back to his car immediately. At 8:41 p.m., I got the last normal message from him. He said he was heading back, but then he added something that didn't sit right with me. He said, "It's not staying behind me anymore." That line stuck in my head. I didn't understand what he meant at that moment until the final recording came. 8:47 p.m., the longest voice note he sent. At first, it was just silence and footsteps. His breathing was heavy, like he was walking fast. Then, you could hear him stop, completely, no movement. Then he whispered, "Did you hear that?" There was no one there to answer him, but a few seconds later, something answered anyway. A voice, faint, distorted. It sounded like him repeating his own words. "Did you hear that?" I felt chills run down my spine when I heard it. In the recording, Farhan panicked. You could hear him stepping back, leaves crunching loudly now. His breathing turned into almost gasping. He kept saying, "No, no, no." Then there was a loud noise, like something hitting the ground or moving fast through the trees. And then, silence. The recording ended. I kept calling him again and again that night. Nothing. No response. The next morning, we went to look for him with a small group. We found his car parked near the edge of the forest, unlocked. His phone was not inside. We followed some tracks going into the woods, but after a certain point, they just disappeared. No signs of struggle, no clear direction, just gone. Search teams were called. They looked for days. Nothing was ever found. The only thing we have left are those voice messages. I've listened to them more times than I should have, trying to make sense of it, trying to convince myself there's a logical explanation. But there's one thing I can't ignore. That voice in the last recording. It wasn't just similar to his. It was exact. And whatever answered him that night wasn't supposed to be there.